What's up, guys? Brian Grossman here with Grossman Woodworking and DIY, and on today's video we're going to be looking at this 8-inch SeeSii cordless miter saw. The company reached out to me a few weeks ago, asked me if I wanted to test one of these out and review it. I thought, hey, you can never have too many power tools, and while it certainly won't replace my main day-to-day miter saw that's mounted here on my workbench, I thought it might be a great option for small jobs like cut and trim inside the house. Or just like this evening, I have to run over to my son's house and get some deck boards from him. He's tearing up a deck. I've already hauled off a bunch of boards for him, and I got some more. But those boards are 12 foot, and I got a 6-foot truck bed. And I hauled a bunch of them back the full length, but it was a little bit sketchy. So I'm going to take this saw with me this evening and put it through its paces and see how it does on those decking boards. I'll have you guys along for that. But before that job this evening, we'll go ahead and put some boards through it this morning to see how well it does. I'm also going to run through a few features of this thing so you can see if it's something that might be right for your shop. Now, right out of the box, this thing pretty much comes set up as you see it. I did add the little dust collector bag here. It has a couple of posts here with hold down clamps for holding down boards. It comes with two 18-volt 5-amp-hour batteries, as well as a charger, some instructions, and a Allen wrench tool if you need to make any adjustments to it. Everything you need to get started. There's very little setup involved. Like I said, I put the dust collector bag on there, the hold down clamps. I charged up the batteries, and this thing is ready to go. And I have not seen this thing perform. We're gonna witness the first cuts together, so I have no idea how it's gonna do, but we're gonna find out here this morning. So I'm gonna pop a battery on this thing, and let's take a look at some of the features. All right, so let me pull the locking pin on this so it raises up. Now again, this is of course, a sliding miter saw, which allows you to cut boards up to 2 by 12, and it is dual compound, meaning that it pivots both on the horizontal plane, so you can make those mitered cuts up to 45 degrees in either direction. And if you loosen this handle on the back, you can make beveled cuts on the vertical plane up to 45 degrees to my left. It does not pivot to the right. So just one side on the vertical plane, but either way on the horizontal plane. Another feature I like on this that I noticed is it does have a little depth stop adjustment here. So if you need to stop that blade and not cut all the way through the board, maybe you're making some dado style cuts in a board, you can do that by adjusting this little depth stop. Then of course, again, it does have a dust collection bag on it that unzips from the bottom, so you can empty that out without having to take it on and off. Or you can just take it off and connect your hose to it for your dust collection system. It comes with a couple of these little posts to mount your hold down clamps on. It does come with one hold down clamp. What else? Let's see, these little wings here are adjustable by loosening these little bolts on the back, so you can slide those in and out as needed depending on what you're cutting. Oh, and it does come with a laser. So I'm going to throw this board on here just for reference. Clamp that down. And the little button here on the top of the handle, you turn it on, and it puts your laser line here on the board. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but it does have a laser line on there. And we're going to test the accuracy of that thing here in just a minute. But that's kind of it. It's basically just a mini version of my big miter saw. It has pretty much all the same features, just on a smaller scale. So I'm excited to put this thing through its paces. Well, all right, guys, so far so good. I'm really impressed with how this little thing cuts. You know, we put the small, just like a 1x4 pine board through it. We cut that 2.5 by 2.5 inch piece of oak, and it cut that no problem. And then the 1x12 piece of pine, just to test out that full range of the slider, and it cut that no problem as well. I don't have a 2x12 to test, but I have no doubt that it would be able to cut through that as well. So again, just really impressed with it so far. It is just a touch out of square, so I'm gonna have to calibrate it. Not a big deal. That's a good reminder that any tool you buy, I don't care if it's brand new, I don't care if it's a big name brand, you need to check it, and there's a good chance you might have to do some tweaking to get it perfectly square, both vertically and horizontally. I've had to do it to my other miter saw, and I've had to do it to my table saw to get those perfect cuts. And I'm going to have to do it to this as well, but no big deal there. I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but this thing is super lightweight, so it's perfect for throwing in the back of your truck and taking to a job site if you need it. And I also didn't mention, but it has, of course, a nice safety guard on that blade that goes all the way down and closes against this guide. It's even got little rollers on the bottom of it, and it just eliminates the risk of getting your hand in there and touching that blade. So a lot of cool features. So far, so good on performance, but we're going to continue this thing by taking it over to my son's house and putting this thing through its paces on some treated deck boards. Because I'm curious, the one unanswered question here is battery life. So I don't know if I'll be able to run the battery down on it completely, but we're gonna put it through the paces and see how it turns out. Well, obviously this is not my son's backyard. Unfortunately, we got rained out and I wasn't able to go over there and cut up those deck boards like I was wanting to. So we're gonna put the SeeSii cordless miter saw here to the test in my shop, because I got a absolute pile of these old tongue groove boards that are roughly 38 inches long in a variety of widths here. And I mean, I got a pile, a lot more than what you see here. I got a whole refrigerated trailer truck full of them that was left on the property here when I bought it. And my thought, at least at this point, is that when I redo this wall back here behind me, I'll put it on 16-inch studs, and I'll cut these down to 32, and we'll use this as a decorative or kind of an accent wall. Now, I'll rip them all to uniform size, run them through the planer to get them all cleaned up, and then decide on how I want to stain them. But for today, we're just going to cut these all to a 32-inch length. And you can't see it, but I actually built a little stop block for the saw. I screwed the saw into my tabletop here so it doesn't move. Built a little stop block so we can cut these all at a uniform 32 inches, just repetitive cuts. And we'll see how the thing performs on a high quantity of boards. Now, two things real quick. One, if the sound is a little wonky, I apologize. I cannot find my little lapel mic that I normally wear, so I'm having to do this with just the cell phone mic. So hopefully that's not too distracting. The second thing, I know I mentioned previously that this thing was just a touch out of square, and obviously I did not want to cut a pile of boards out of square and then have problems when I went to put them on the walls. So it turns out this thing was really easy to calibrate. All you had to do was loosen up 4 Allen head bolts here in the fence itself, and then you can adjust that thing as needed. So I took a 1x12 board and a framing square, and I marked a line on here that was perfectly perpendicular. Is that right? Perpendicular, yeah, to the back here, and put it on the saw, turned on the laser, and then I adjusted that fence until I got that laser perfectly in line with my line that I marked on here. So it should be good and square now. It only took a couple minutes to make that adjustment, and now I can have that peace of mind knowing that I won't be cutting a bunch of out of square boards. So that was an easy fix. But with that, we're gonna dive into the pile of boards here, and I got more waiting over in the other side of the shop, and we'll see how this saw handles a large quantity of cuts.
One eternity later.
All right, well, this could go on for quite some time. I'm gonna call it, I've cut, I don't know, about 25 or so boards here, and battery life is still 100%. So, I don't know. I'll keep working on it, but I'm not gonna make you guys watch me cut 200 boards. So, all right, a few final thoughts here on this thing. First off, it's battery powered. So obviously you do notice a difference between the power that this thing has versus a full size, AC miter saw. Doesn't stop it from effectively cutting the boards, but I do notice a difference in power, and it's a little slower to start up. When you first press the trigger, it's got it has to pick up as opposed to that just instant power of a normal shop miter saw. So that was a couple things I did notice, but it does a great job. And after a little calibration, everything is nice and square. The laser is dead on. I really like that. I haven't really used a saw in the past with a laser like that. I don't remember if I mentioned this before, but it does come with a 24 tooth blade. So just kind of a general ripping type blade. So when I was cutting the pine boards, some of them would splinter on the end. Not a big deal. I'll probably switch this out for maybe a 40 or 50 tooth, a more general purpose type blade to do this kind of work. But man, overall, I'm very impressed with it being battery powered, relatively inexpensive. It's a great little miter saw to just be able to carry out on a job site or to bring to your house if you need to cut some trim, that kind of stuff. Again, not something that's going to replace my main shop saw by any means, but definitely handy to have when you need to be portable and you don't want to drag around a bunch of extension cords, whatever the case. Yeah, so if this is something that interests you, I think SeeSii is going to give me a discount code. If so, I'll drop that in the product description below. Either way, I'll definitely drop a link in the description if you want to learn more about the SeeSii cordless miter saw. But yeah, overall, I'm happy with it, and I'm sure it'll get continued use here around the shop or for off-site projects. And with that, guys, as always, I will see you on the next video.